is Denny here?
Oh, Tricia's not on the phone either, we can't run the form.
Yeah, I'll go look for Denny.
In which case, this might become an informational meeting where you tell me about sprinkles. And that's it.
Okay.
You know, he's been swamped. They've been swamped over there too.
Yes, and he lost some help, but
Oh, he did?
yeah, just by a stroke of luck, Linda Larson was in the building today to say hello. And I took Linda down to Denny and I said, here you go. Your savior. So she's like, he said, when can you start? She's like, So
Yeah, he's
she's,
down 3 people, plus Lisa's out on vacation.
Oh, that was bad timing.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Did you hear about the elections office? So remember in our book club last whenever we did book club, how one of the marks of a true team is that people within departments are willing to help other people in other departments finish their goals. Apparently, they knew Denny was swamped, and Marja and Crystal went down there and worked for a morning to help him catch up.
That's
They did?
great. Good for them. I'm glad they had the time to do that.
They probably didn't, that was the cool thing. Was,
Mhm.
anyway, good team.
many hands.
That's what we do.
Sending it
I
down.
think so, I think so.
Yeah, he's got a customer in
I
there.
can't believe it.
That's
People
fairly
just
low
say
in there.
hello, it means something to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I
It
know.
does. People say, how are you doing? And I feel like everybody cares. Everybody wants to know, how are we doing?
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
good atmosphere. Is he coming or no?
He is. He's got a customer. So.
You're leaving at 1:30?
No, I don't have a hard deadline when I have to. I'm just, when I'm done here, I'm gonna.
Lisa has to be upstairs at 1:30.
Right.
They'll wait for me, I'm sure. They will not. I was actually subpoenaed for one of the Register of Wills issues, so it's interesting.
Yeah, they won't wait on you.
No.
No, it's not a sheriff's deputy now.
That would be great if they picked you up and carried you out. I would like this. That would be funny. And you're just like,
I will too, that's right.
they grab you by both
Get a
arms.
picture for me. My kid would love that.
There you go.
About 2 weeks ago, Judge Skura called me up. And I was like, get me, am I in trouble? And so it was my first time in there, and it was just, whoa. I don't know, just sitting there with her quietly talking about stuff. It
Sorry, y'all.
was a great moment.
Yeah.
Quick weird thing.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I got in trouble in court. I got a while ago with Hammond, and it is, when you're in court, it's like a whole nother thing, you know, like everybody's tone changes and everything.
Mhm.
Because I was sitting in there, nobody recognized me. I was sitting in there because there's a friend of mine, he had a problem or whatever, I wanted to help him out, so, and he didn't have the money for attorney work, but I sit in there, and I sat with him up in the box or whatever, and Hammond comes in and just goes, sir, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Call the salary board meeting of July 13th to order. It is 13:09. Please stand with me and join in the pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This meeting is being recorded. Does everyone have a chance to review the May 11 meeting minutes?
Sure. Motion to accept the minutes as presented. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. No old business, new business, sprinkles.
Thank you for your time. I promise I'll be quick. I have asked previously, of course, to restore a full-time person to the Register of Wills. What we did was we brought in Linda Larson temporarily. She used approximately half of her hours. She did a great job. She helped with a lot of organizational things, a lot of administrative things. Very exciting. Good news is that my part-time person has been sworn in and is a deputy now. And We've been talking about it for over a month now. She would like to go full-time. She's done some research. She's been part-time now, it'll be a year in August. She's learning and learning more and more of the aspects of the Register of Wills position. All I need is more of her, more time from her, and she loves the work. To see her grow since I've taken office January 1st has been wonderful. She loves it. She loves coming to work. She's reliable. She's increased her hours. When somebody is sick and needs to be out of the office and you text her, she's there a half hour later. She just really is a go-to girl. And she's doing a great job learning more and more about Register of Wills. She's looked into things. She would like to come out of retirement and go full-time. Now, I know I don't want to burden the taxpayers. You don't want to burden the taxpayers. I've done some research about my office's record improvement fund, and other counties have used those funds to pay when they've needed additional help in their offices. And I've checked with the state association and also with the solicitor for the state association to see if we can legally do that. And we can. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, if you would be willing to discuss with me what it would cost for me to put Jody to full-time, and then we can talk about it when budget talks come around in September to make it a full-time position.
So what was the status of that fund at this stage? I mean, it's like $100,000 and some odd $1,000, right?
Almost 180, yeah.
Yeah, and we never really plugged it into the budget. The idea being, you know, I don't see why if hypothetically we were going to approve this, you know, that it couldn't be a budget amendment, you know, to.
Part of that fund is used for the scan tech job.
Yeah,
I have to go back to the minutes and find out how much.
yeah, but I mean, we're in, you know, whatever, July, you know.
That records improvement fund though is also the proprietary, who are all the voting members?
There's two record improvement funds, one for the commissioners or the county and one for my office.
Only, yeah.
Yes, and that's the one I'm talking about, is the one for my office.
That one.
There's actually, excuse me,
There's three.
there's actually three.
Hmm.
The Prothonotary maintains one,
Right.
you have one, county has one.
Right.
Now, the way I understand it is if you don't have your funds encumbered, then you hand it over to the county.
I understand.
When we approached that subject before, we were told that they were encumbered. So that's that. So I'm surprised that you, and if your solicitor said so, then you can use it. Let me just ask you, where are you at with being caught up?
I have to be here every weekend to maintain the Register of Wills side of the office, which was why it went to a part-time position. I have no idea. I think it was one of the most foolish decisions that ever could have been made there. So I have to come in on the weekends. That's the only way, and the three of us together all have to pull a part of the Register of Wills job to make it happen, and I have to work from home and here on the weekends to make it happen. We are not there. We've made good progress, especially with organization. We have a long way to go. It really, honestly, the best way I can describe it is like a house with deferred maintenance. That's what we call it in real estate. The records have not been maintained. Some of the records have not been maintained since 2004.
Okay, so understanding that, this is like deja vu for me in 2012. When I came into office with tax claim and treasury, I was short a person. It took me 9 months to basically get to this point, okay? And at that point, another person was added because in the previous budget, it was cut out. So I know exactly what she's going through, so I support trying to get her the help she needs.
So my question is what specifically are we discussing again, like numbers-wise?
Full-time Register of Wills. What would it take for Jody Sterling to go full-time the rest of the year? She wants to come out of retirement and go from part-time to full-time.
So,
Yeah, basically I'm suggesting two things. One is I need to know, or we need to know what that number is, like, right?
probably not to make this decision, because the only thing we're voting on today in this meeting is part-time or full-time.
I know, but there's a number associated, right?
Not, oh,
You know what I mean, the pay, we have to set the pay.
Benefits and pay.
Yeah,
no,
What was
because-
Well, the
that?
benefits are just what they are, the pay, like, we
Pay.
estimate the benefits, but,
the
Okay,
pay is set by the union contract, so we
Yeah.
don't need to do that either.
okay.
All we need
We,
to do,
we already know what the pay is, so just.
Well, I just wanna make sure, because it's saying.
it's a simple motion, then what's not so simple is when you come bring the sprinkles to the commissioner's office.
So,
Or to Lisa, I guess.
so I would make a motion that we change the register of recorder part-time position to a full-time position.
Register of wills.
rules, yes.
Register of wills, which is currently part-time, to a full-time position.
Mhm.
Register of wills. Okay.
Denny, I take your.
With, and then I would just have the caveat be, that's what the understanding, that the difference is gonna be handled by the records improvement fund. I have a secondary point that I wanna make, but it's not really.
Motion is made and seconded, discussion.
When will this be effective?
Immediately, next pay.
Let's do the next thing, which is Monday, right?
Well, the next day will be on the 31st, or 30th.
Alright, so go back to this past Monday.
Okay, so to this past Monday then.
Can I say something? Am I able to? The cost will be, $37,941.60. I mean, that sounds concrete, but it is a little bit rough.
Is that 12 months or the rest of the year?
Well, that one I did for, that was for 12 months. So if you're planning to spend out of the records improvement, you're, looking at, because I roughed in the benefit number too, so, and then we can talk about it budget time putting it actually.
Okay. She's worth her weight in gold. She has been learning so much. It's been the biggest surprise in the office, is how she has grown and developed, and it's turned into a job that she looks forward to coming to. And she's just amazing, how she takes care of the public. She really is. They're both doing an exceptional job. They really, truly are.
But regardless of the person, you need the hours.
Yes, yes.
I can relate to that.
I appreciate it. Can I ask a quick question? When you mentioned that I had encumbered the funds, did you mean all of mine? Gotcha. Okay.
No,
I just wanna make
so,
sure.
no, so the whole deal on, the way I understand it, and this is off on records improvement, you collect that money. If you don't have it designated to do something, then the excess comes, it should be written over to the county's
Yeah.
records improvement fund for all the
Yes.
other
And
related.
I'm sure there will.
That's how I understand the policy.
Well, so just on this motion, I would.
Yeah, that's not Joanne, you can talk about it later, I guess.
Okay.
So the motion was made and seconded to create a full-time position, withdraw a part-time position for register of wills effective the 11th of July.
Thank you.
Correct? Correct?
Yep.
Any comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor of that motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
So
We got 11 minutes.
So the two very quick things I want to say is, number one is we need to have a conversation about the records improvement fund,
Sounds
because
good.
if you're behind, like, and that's a vehicle for fixing that, then we should talk about that.
Yeah,
And then secondarily, we should probably have the solicitor take a look at that, the legal aspect of the records improvement fund, because we come back to this, it feels like every 6 months we have a conversation about
Okay.
what it can be used for.
I'm on it, I promise
We can
you.
write a policy.
Exactly.
I ask again, just to have some time to evaluate, not under pressure, what I need to get everything, particularly the adoption files. They've been paper boxes for years.
Yeah.
And they have to be stored a certain way. There's so much that needs done, but it's not gonna take all that money that's in there, and I'm happy to, work with the
Yeah,
county.
no, absolutely.
That's, the county's been good to us. It's been a great year so far, and I'm looking forward to a good relationship.
Well, and I think our willingness to discuss this is a sign of our recognition of your hard work and the kind of information that we've got in the office since you've taken over. It's been very positive.
Well,
support.
It's been amazing, the help and the support.
It's also been very quiet, which is what I like.
It's quiet. Are you sure?
No, I mean, I don't get any calls.
Oh.
You know, that's what I mean by quiet.
Okay, I was gonna say. I'm there every day, so.
Some, I won't say what departments, but I'm just saying there have been times in
Yeah,
the distant past
I get you.
where, I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it, I'm not in charge of that.
Yes, the community's been
Yeah.
amazing.
And so-
And they point it out too, they tell us all the time, thank you so much, thank you for your help, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
We'll keep doing it, thank you, I really appreciate everybody. All right, we're on, off to court.
See you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Next item of business is proposed wage changes for the fiscal administration department.
So I sent you an email regarding wage adjustments for HR and fiscal. I am working, like Lisa, really hard to take our department to the next level. And one of the things I sent you in your email is the roles of human resources that we're serving every person in this building and beyond. And just some of the things that we want to do to make our department more strategic instead of just being administrative. We have a lot of strategic projects that we want to work on, but I also feel that that requires a higher level of expertise. And so I am asking for, I have given you wage structures in other counties that I could find those specific positions. And then I have given you an outline of my request for the different positions and how to pay for it. And probably some of the reason I couldn't find specific counties with exact is because they probably called it something different in the wage survey.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, you can tell that the ones that only have one, generally it's much higher because you have to assume that person's trying to do the work of two people.
Yep. And then some counties have a lot more, a larger staff in both HR and fiscal.
I have two concerns with how it's paid for. One is reducing your salary, and the other is using ADP, the money that was allocated for ADP, which was one time.
No, that's annual. And while I don't love reducing my own salary, that's how important I feel this move is. There probably are other ways to pay for it rather than reducing my salary, but that is a concrete way to know that it happens. I mean, we would have ADP plus our salaries are reimbursed through the cost allocation plan. So, but we don't have a concrete number for that to guide this decision.
What, technically speaking, the HR administrator position should be paid for at least 50% by human services.
Usually,
Which that gets done now through the, it was a reimbursement that they physically sent in a check, but now it's done through the indirect cost, through the cost allocation.
Yeah. Yeah, but the idea is, so, one of the questions that I've always had in the intention of expanding that pay is that, a good chunk of whatever increase should be subsidized at least 50% by human services.
I think it's done more on a percentage based on the amount of staff.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
they
what-
have 60, 65, 68, 70
Yeah.
full-timers or staff members versus the rest of the county,
yeah,
160 or so.
are the county employees 160? Like,
Well,
or is it-
altogether, we're anywhere from 225 and 250 at a given time.
Okay, so what does that end up being, a quarter or a third of the group?
is there a reason this can't
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the increases as presented, at least to Dilbert.
So this would be for HR administrator to go from 45,600 to 55K. Finance administrator from 43,700 to 48,000. HR benefits and risk administrator from 37,800 to 48. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion.
So, a few things. So the first is regardless of what anybody thinks about the other two positions, it's certainly my position that the HR administrator pay needs to be increased, just generally speaking. Previously, this is a job that's been done by multiple people for human services and for the county. We've always had a challenge with a single person in that position, and I think that we're going to continue with the setup that we have. The only way to get somebody that's going to be able to do that job efficiently is going to be to increase the pay for that job. It's just, there's too much involved in human resources at this stage for it to not be increased. As far as the finance administrator position goes, it would be my recommendation that if we don't increase the pay for this position in order to have somebody of high quality, it would be to have a discussion about adding another person in that office, because having one person handle pretty much everything is just, in my opinion, a huge liability, especially if they leave and you know, payroll, I mean, everything, the Void information's managed. I've always felt like that office is understaffed, and that position either needs to be, there either needs to be a second position, or again, we need to pay somebody enough money that they're going to stay in that job and be effective as a financial manager, you know, in that post. And then, you know, my general feeling of the HR benefits and risk situation too is similar in the sense that, you know, again, both of the HR positions are taking on more responsibility constantly, and you need people that are going to be technically savvy. And I just don't see how we're going to do that at 37.8, in my opinion. When I left doing graphic design work, which was a technical job that required, you know, programming knowledge, I was making 47. Like the amount of technical work that they have to do in these positions is very high. That was almost 10 years ago. So I'm in favor of this, and I think I agree with Ben in the sense that I don't like the idea of, and technically speaking, even if we were going to pay for it with a portion of Lisa's position, that would have to be a separate motion, because we'd be adjusting the pay of the administrative position. I think that there are other avenues we could use to pay for these increases. Like, you know, the county traditionally, up until we made changes to the administrator job, in my opinion, hadn't made as much investment in finance as we probably should have. And the reason I say that is all the money in the county flows through that office. Like millions of dollars flow through that office, and if it's not handled properly with really good people, things get really messed up, and we've seen that. So to get and keep good people pays for itself, in my opinion, over the long haul. So that's my pitch in support of this concept.
For my part, I see it as two separate proposals, essentially. The HR administrator position is open. We've done a wage analysis, and we found that we probably can't fill it with the current wage. And I can appreciate that, and I can see why if you're taking an existing budgeted line item for a part-timer and converting the money over to a full-time position, it needs to be increased in order to attract the right person. I'm sympathetic to that. I'm also meaning I could support that and I could vote for that right now. The other two, I'm sympathetic. At the same time, I'm not sure that it's the right time of year to do that. We don't allow other departments really to do that. Midway changes, and we've recently done increases. So while I can acknowledge that those are probably the real rates that we should be paying those people, and they're worth it, they're very much worth it, and they do a great job. If we do it in July, what stops us from all the other departments coming to us in August saying that we can't, that they want to have budget adjustments across the board? What we would normally say to them is, come to us in budget season in a couple months. So personally, I'm more interested in making a motion to amend, just do the HR administrator increase right now, and then budget for the other two in September. Danny, what do you think?
I understand, because like you say, you could open the floodgates to people coming to the meeting and asking. It's been deferred before, like you say, we've tried to get it to the point of budget time, unless there's extenuating circumstances. And I think to the point of making the HR administrator position, I don't know if you've started a search for that now yet. I think it would probably be easier if this was amended to the proposed. Obviously, it would probably be easier to find someone for that. And I guess I'd have to go back and look at it.
I'm aware of other businesses in this town who have posted for more in this HR administrator type job and have not filled them, so.
Well, and let me say this, another thought I had, did we lose sight of the HR position is combined now versus what it used to be? A person here and a person at DHS. So I don't know if we went back and said, what was the combined salary of those two that we were paying? Did we lose, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
We made a change.
Well, partly that was putting it under the administrator, but.
You see what I mean? No, because before,
I do.
we were paying two people. And now in fact you're paying one, or maybe the HR administrator and the benefits. I guess if we go back into that, so.
I think, I would say that my position on that would be similar in the sense that if we did that again, just hypothetically, I mean, you would have to reduce, you'd have this pay lower in those two positions, and then trying to find somebody would be even more difficult,
Yeah.
like to do. So, I understand the concept with the finance administrator and HR benefits, like the notion of waiting to the budget. I do kind of understand that concept. I've argued that concept previously. I would say that it's not, I hate to say that it hasn't been uncommon for us to raise wages halfway through the year. And there've been a couple times, and this is the hilarious nature of this job from my perspective, because there've been several times that I've sat in this very room and said we should wait for the budget because in order to argue opposed. In this case, like those for other people where they were making an exception, my exception with this is I think that if we do this, we could have one of the best county finance departments in the state, and I want to see that happen. Like I think you have to invest where things are functioning well, and that you want to see grow and develop and become even better. And this would be the place, in my opinion, to do it, especially with the staff that we have now, and then kind of like, again, planning for the future where we're going to be making even more difficult decisions. That said, not that I want to necessarily open the door for it, because I'm honestly very strongly advocating for this. you know, am I to understand that the two of you would be amenable to the idea of amending the motion in order to have the HR position increase, and then the other two will wait until the budget?
I'm not closed off completely to doing the full money in the near future. However, today, I'm willing to do the HR administrator increase. I think it's best to think about the other two at minimum for another month.
Okay. I'm trying to remember, I can't remember what Robert's rules is with rescinding the motion.
You don't have to rescind it, or no, you could.
Yeah, so I'll rescind my previous motion, and then,
Actually, the cleaner thing to do would be to make a motion to amend.
okay, I will make a motion, well, okay. I'll make a motion to amend my original motion to essentially remove and table the finance administrator and HR benefits positions from this proposal.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded, effectively making the motion to increase the HR administrator from 45,600 to 55K. All in favor of that sub-motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, is there any more discussion related to the HR administrator position? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay. So, at the next meeting, we can discuss the finance administrator and HR benefits if we want to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
And I think it'd probably be good to have Trish here for that anyway.
Fair enough, yeah. But in the interest of getting the HR administrator position posted and
Yeah.
moving, I think that's very comprehensive. All right, lastly, IT.
We have found ourselves in a situation with, all of you are aware that we outsource IT. Our outsource company has their second person left, and so we felt this was a good opportunity to bring some IT in-house along with the third-party vendor. And so with Mr. Gallagher's help, we've put together this IT help desk job description, and that was sent out in the packet for creating a IT help desk position in-house, and we discussed a salary range of 50 to 60 for this position. And this position would be housed in the finance department's budget.
So effectively, the IT budget, whatever, Department 7 or something like that, would not absorb this. This would be an employee view
Yeah,
under 2.
correct.
Okay. And that money, would be taken out of the IT budget or ARPA for this year?
Honestly, I don't think it'll come completely out of the third-party vendor contract, but I think there'll be an adjustment.
Okay.
And then, yes, the difference will come out of
A contingency.
my
I guess you
department,
should
not my wages.
Excuse me, what was the rate again?
say. Up to $60,000.
Yeah,
So I'll make a motion to create an IT help desk tech position with a maximum rate of $60,000 a year
With benefits,
with benefits,
union,
non-union.
non-union,
The access to information is too great.
a lot of information.
okay. Are there any other things we want to?
I would just say that we should definitely make sure that we notify them that we're doing this if it moves forward.
Notify the union.
Just because they're, just so that they don't feel blindsided.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I heard a motion of a wage salary not to exceed 60,000 with benefits, non-union, position title being information technology help desk technician.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
Second. So, in what you've been able to look at, is this comparable to other counties that we know?
Mhm. I've actually sent out emails to other counties asking, you know, how many people they have, what their wage rates are. A lot of counties have way more than 2 people, and the wage rate for this, IT help desk is, very similar to other counties
Okay.
that responded to my email.
We did an analysis, it's, if anything, I think this is low. Well, I shouldn't say that. With our benefit package, I think it's on par. The question is, will a 20-something IT person understand the benefit value?
Yeah.
There were several in the high 50s, you know, and then it would go up as high as 90, you know.
Yeah,
we
some
find-
of them were 6 figures.
Yeah, the director positions, like in the, you know,
This position with some network experience was around 80 in some of the other counties that we
Yeah.
covered.
I guess the concern I have is how, if this person will end up between a rock and a hard place, between,
what do you say?
Will.
What are you suggesting, Betty?
between a contractor and the county administration. Let's just say it that way. So I just hope we can work it smoothly and not, because I got a sense that maybe before Alex left, he was given some projects that maybe weren't real desirable before he left. So I hope that this, doesn't filter down like that, and that it can all work, is my concern.
We're gonna work hard to try to manage that well.
Okay. And of course, then my obvious question.
Da-da-da-da, how's it gonna be paid for?
Is that your question?
Yeah. Obviously, it's not in the budget.
Right.
Now, I was hoping I would hear that the contract would be adjusted to accommodate.
We do not have a new contract yet.
Okay.
I believe, working with Mr. Gallagher on that, I believe he was kind of waiting to see what avenue we were gonna take before we wrote a new contract.
Understand.
Because he is up for contract currently.
Okay.
So, I would suggest that some of this would get taken care of in the contract, in a new contract. But probably not all of it, and not all of it with benefits for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, my recommendation would just be to use ARPA for the remainder of the year, and then we'll have to do, like, the budget will completely change with the contract change with IT for next year.
So that's an L. I'm not.
My assumption is that by January with the discussion, I don't believe that it'll be a neutral change per se, but that it won't be an excessive change, like where we're just adding a whole $60,000 pay to the equation. I think that given the nature of IT and the job market, with negotiating that contract, there would have to be some adjustment anyway. So in this case, we're kind of making a move that gives us more control over the setup.
Okay.
So that's that's a valuable piece of the equation.
So.
This is a good succession plan for us as well, because Mr. Gallagher is gonna wanna retire, and in the future, I don't know exactly when.
We all are.
I wish it was soon.
So I don't want to make any assumptions, so where will the positions sit when they work?
I haven't ironed all that out yet,
Okay.
because I didn't know if you would say yes, so.
Okay.
I don't know, because we
Okay.
don't have a lot of empty space in this building, so.
All right.
They just sit where Alex at?
Yeah.
That's not up to me.
Well, I think that'll be part of the conversation.
Okay.
Board that with Bill. I mean, he's
That's not really his space, is it?
it isn't.
Well, the administrative details can be worked out. with the
Yeah.
Administrator.
Yeah.
Is there anything else germane to the position? Hearing none. This was seconded, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone's clear on the motion?
Yes.
All those in favor, please state aye.
Okay.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I believe that is it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
C, 13:45.
Second, correct.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Denny.
Yeah.
I know you guys